Hey everyone, today for another vlog, and today I would like to talk about drifting and trying to stay on track. Yeah, so the prompt for today comes from the fact that I've looked at my theme, for the 4 months, so from November to February, which I might extend to March, by the way, just to make it like a 3 month period, and that is aligned with the usual quarter month. So I might extend this period to March, but what I've noticed is that I really drifted from the initial intention of simplifying my life and going back to spending more time with myself. I mean, to some extent, I haven't really drifted that much because I I kept my. It wasn't like an explicit something I explicitly said on blog or whatever, but in terms of spending, for example, I'm very much a very frugal person, so I barely spent any of my money, even though this is the first job, right? So the major change in this 3 months or 4 months of my life is that this was the first job that I ever had, and so that's a lot of money for someone because I've never really had money in my life. Like my parents never really gave me money, so the most I ever had in my for myself was like 200 euros from accumulating whenever I needed money, right? Yeah, so I feel like to a certain extent I've kind of stayed true to the theme, which is to not spend it on things I don't need. But I feel like it was pretty easy. It wasn't super conscious. I just don't really care about most things that cost money. But yeah, I feel like I've very much drifted off the theme of recently, and in general, I feel like I've kind of drifted in life ever since. I don't know. Maybe it's been long. Maybe it's been maybe a long thing. But for example, it feels like I barely draw nowadays. I mean, that that days the last week or month where I've drawn a fair amount, like it's so much less consistent, and so much less like passion, you could say, or enjoyment behind it. Even though during my first 2 years, I really enjoyed it, and it was, I guess, it was a kind of honeymoon period, right? When you find that you can do something that you didn't know before, and now it's not the honeymoon anymore. Right? I've been doing it for 4 years, and it's not the honeymoon anymore. But I feel like I've been, yeah, I feel like kind of drifted off the vision of wanting to spend more time drawing. But maybe there are reasons for that. So this is kind of the first point I want to bring, which is that there is one thing, there is such a thing as drifting, I would say, but at the same time, it's unclear to me whether I should stick with my vision or I should just adapt and try to understand why I don't draw, for example, or do the things I think I should be doing, or like try to understand why my vision is not aligned with my current self. But maybe it's not that there's anything wrong; it's just that I don't want to do the things that I decided 4 years ago. So maybe there's that. I think it's kind of something important to navigate, right? Like, are you really drifting, or is it just that there is something in your current experience that needs to be addressed? You know what I mean? Like, or maybe you're just different, right? Maybe it's not that you're drifting. Maybe it's just that you just changed and the old vision doesn't really apply. It's hard to say. I feel like for me, it's not really that. However, I don't really feel like I've changed so much that I don't enjoy drawing. I mean, I've changed in other aspects, but not in that aspect. I think it's just that life has kind of gone in the way, and it's kind of hard for me to, like get in the drawing mode, so to speak. I mean, I still have a habit of like drawing at least a line every day. It might sound like nothing, but this is a habit I've kept up, and it's good because when I feel like drawing, it's much easier to start on because I've at least drawn a bit, I've scribbled a bit here and there, but yeah, definitely not as much as I would have hoped. But there are probably reasons again, probably reasons why I don't draw. And maybe one of the reasons is that I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of burnt out on working on that. Like I have a full time job now, and I felt pretty burnt out from school. Like I just felt like I needed to rest, and I feel like I didn't really have the occasion to rest between leaving school and getting to work. Like I finished school in the middle of July, and I started work in the middle of November. But in the middle, there was my me having to pass my driving test, and that was very. I think that took like 2 months solid, and that was very stressful because I had driving anxiety and all that. So yeah, so 2 months, so August and September out. So I basically had October and like the remainings of July and November. So and even then, not really the most uh, restful period because I had to look for a job after I had done. So yeah, I feel like I'm burnt out. So I feel like if I had to explain to myself why I don't do, I feel like it's mainly because I'm kind of burnt out on work, and I feel like I kind of want to rest and do other things that are maybe easier. And yeah, maybe it's scope. I don't know. There are definitely ways to make drawing fun, but personally, I don't really want to be hard on myself during this period. I just want to allow everything. And perhaps this is what truly is like the fitting to the theme of white. Like maybe it's best to just allow everything so that I can like start fresh, instead of like trying to stick to a certain vision or stick to a certain ideal of like, oh, I should draw this much every week or whatever. Maybe allowing myself to just do whatever is fine for a certain period. So yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Like to be able to say whether you're drifting or you're just changing. It's kind of so I feel like it's kind of a better title than what I initially had, which was drifting and staying on track. But like who is the one who lays the tracks? You know what I mean? Like, like how do you know that the old you who laid the track was right with regards to your current self? Maybe he wasn't right. Maybe he was right at the time. Maybe he was really inspired to lay those tracks. But maybe the you who is now here might not really resonate as much. It's hard to say. But one way in which I feel like I'm kind of drifting is that when I'm done with work, I'm kind of autopiloting. Like I'm not really. I feel pretty tense in my body first of all, like in my belly, stressed and not super stressed, but like I feel tense and like I just tend to turn to autopilot after work, often turning to porn, for example. Mm. But then again, it's probably a reason why to distractions. Right? I mean, as I've just explained here, it's probably because I feel tense in my body, and so yeah, things I don't understand why I feel tense. I've definitely made a pretty. I'm pretty happy about the change I'm making right now. I'm sticking. I feel it's pretty easy to stick, which is to very simply add exercising in a way that is easy and enjoyable. So I don't try to exercise a lot. I simply try to exercise consistently, like even just moving around, just doing like jumping jacks and like doing shadow boxing, even though I don't know how to really throw a punch, but it's kind of fun to like move around and like punch the air. It's surprisingly fun, and doing push-ups, and I have a single dumbbell, and I have like I don't know how it's called, like it's not really a kettle. It's not really a kettlebell. It's a like imagine like a big jug of milk, like a 5 liter jug of water rather, and I'm using that as the other weight. So like I'm carrying a dumbbell and that weight for like exercising, but I only have one dumbbell in practice. It's kind of scuffed, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just exercising in a way that feels really easy and fun and consistent. Right, I'm not trying to go hard. I'm just trying to be consistent because I find that moving is more important than uh, uh, muscle mass in my experience. I think like moving, just it's really the thing that we lose the most from modern world is that we don't move. Like muscle atrophy, it's a thing for sure. Like it definitely helps to build muscle, but I think the lack of movement and being so sedentary, it's really bad. Right? Like it's obviously much easier to become overweight, and I feel like you just become more apathetic when you don't move in general. Like you just become blah, it feels like you become the couch by staying on the couch so long. You just become like a big round thing that just doesn't move. Yeah, that's definitely something I've found it pretty easy to stick with. Actually, just a general exercising habit and a way to move because it's fun. I find it fun to move around. Because otherwise that I've never implemented it before. Maybe because I tried to like do too much before. Now I'm more focused on consistency, enjoyment, and how to say, yeah. I'm just doing it in like my breaks, like, when I work at home, I don't exercise when I'm uh, in the office, but when I work at home, like remote working, I just like just do like a few push-ups and jumping jacks for like a break, and then I go back, and it really helps. Actually, it really helps staying focused and not being tired. Like the main reason why I picked up exercise is because I was feeling tired, and it definitely helped. Yeah, definitely helps. So yeah, I feel like it's quite funny how this episode itself it feels like I'm drifting from the initial subject. It's fucking hilarious actually. Uh, yeah, so my initial intention with this prompt was that I can notice myself drifting and not staying on track. But I think what I realize now is that I feel like drifting is kind of the wrong word. I feel like it's more important to understand why you're quote unquote drifting, right? Like why you're not aligned with your previous vision. And there's probably a very good reason why your current self doesn't feel compelled to do the whole thing. I feel like in my case, maybe it's just that I'm just kind of bad at making long term things. I mean, I think that's definitely a point, but I'm not good at building tracks that I would want to follow. But at the same time, I think there's definitely like a misunderstanding of sort of like what I need. And maybe what I need right now is to simply take it chill. Just take it chill. It's probably what I need right now. Maybe those are the tracks I need to follow. the chill tracks, not the work or whatever. Yeah, like I had another prompt, and I feel like it's kind of a good transition. And the question was this, when is enough enough? Like when is self improvement just a luxury or not really a necessity? Because like I feel like throughout my life I've always had this like this pressure to improve, or especially at school, right? Even though I had like very good grades, I mean, I always felt this pressure to do at school. It didn't feel like a very like how to say enjoyable thing. It felt more like a pressure. And yeah, maybe what I need right now is to just allow and recognize that there is such a thing as enough. Like in the society we live in, we're just brought up with this constant pressure to just improve and like change ourselves and fit in and always go for the next thing, the next thing, the next purchase, like the go for if you don't have a relationship, that the next thing is like to find a partner. If you don't have a house, the next thing is to have a house. It feels like there was always that next thing that people are obsessed about, and perhaps what I need right now is to simply drop this constant treadmill because as it turns out, this constant pressure to always go for the next thing is it's actually internally created mostly. I mean, the way it starts is not internal. Right? The way it starts is probably from like school and people around you and all that. But like as an adult, you don't really have that as much. I feel like when you're a child, that's really present. But as an adult, I don't really feel that. But I mean, sometimes I feel that with my parents, but like also, it's also a lot easier for me not to take them seriously, right? Because I know I just have a better relationship with myself, and I'm just more conscious. But yeah, I feel like as an adult, it's very important to just learn how to recognize when enough is enough. It feels like it feels like when feels like our physical body, for example, is very good at telling us when enough is enough because it's our body, right? So if we eat too much food, then it can't handle it. So it just tells us by making us feel really bad. But I feel like we don't really have the same restraint with life and with like activity and success and all that. We don't have like the same feedback. Except, I mean, there is a feedback, which is that when you're burnt out, when you're too tired. But the things that I feel like people are kind of how to say desensitized, like they don't desensitized to being tired. Like it becomes such a reality, so common that they don't even know what's like to not be tired. And I feel like it's kind of my case. Like you're so not used to like being at peace and like being relaxed that you just you're just tired all the time, so you don't even know you don't even know that you're trying to do too much, right? So yeah, it's hard to say. Actually, no, I don't think it's hard to say. I think I really do need. I think it's very simple actually. I really just need that. But the thing is like, why do I not allow myself to rest? Like, why do I feel like it's a pretty common thing for people is that they might recognize that they need rest. They might understand it uh, intellectually, but they might not allow themselves to rest. Perhaps because there was a time where it wasn't safe to rest, like you just had to work and you felt like things would go really bad if not. And I say that because I feel like it's very much my case. Like I've had a few notable moments where I didn't, where I just had to suffer for like a really unenjoyable like grind at school to get a project done because I didn't do good enough of a job from what I felt, like there was a particularly bad time where like I procrastinated really hard on like an essay. It was like a 50-page essay. It was a year long essay, like we had like the entire school year up until like April to give it, and it was like the last year of secondary school. So like when you're 17, 18. And yeah, I procrastinated so hard because I did remember trying several times to like open the document and write something, but I just froze up. Like at that point, I didn't know like the technique of just writing something. Right, I was just so scared of writing something bad that I just froze up and I didn't write anything. And as a result, like at the end, I had to basically rush through the entire thing in a week, and it was really bad. It was really bad. Let me tell you, it felt really shit in my body. Right? And I had something similar in university. Right? The last thing. Except that this time it wasn't that I procrastinated. I was very consistent at it actually. But the problem is that the boundaries of the project weren't properly defined. So I just ended up having to work super hard to make something possible, and I had wasted a lot of time on things that didn't end up being in the final thing. So yeah, just mentioning situations where me relaxing myself didn't feel safe, so I just had to like put this pressure on me to work, and that's probably why I don't allow myself to rest. But I don't know. I don't really feel like I need more self-exploration for that. But yeah, I think I've talked a fair amount. My vlogs are getting long nowadays. I feel like 19 minutes is just fine for what I had to say. So yeah, hope this video was interesting. If you have anything to say with regards to like rest, like what is your relationship with work and rest? Do you feel like you allow yourself to rest? Or another subject I mentioned was like, do you feel like you've drifted? Do you feel like you drift a lot from your vision in life? And what do you do about it? I'd be interested in hearing that. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.